Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today it's time for the last job that was on my list of jobs that I was most excited for pre-Endwalker release, Summoner. But there's also a reason why it came in last on that list. When Endwalker came out, I briefly hit my striking dummy with a couple of different jobs to get a feel for some of the changes that had happened, for the jobs that got some bigger changes that is. And Summoner just felt kind of empty. Your big summons, Bahamut and Phoenix, are just summon the Demi, press and kindle once, and then you press 1 for single target or 2 for AoE, and well, you can also use their special ability ones, which is Death Flare for Bahamut and a healing spell for Phoenix, but it's just those two off global cooldowns that you can use as you summon the Demi. So you just press summon, which is a GCD now by the way, and kindle plus astral flow, and then you're just spamming your DPS button. Your primal summons, Ifrit, Titan and Garuda, are also all very similar. Ifrit is 2 slow casts, Titan is 4 normal casts, and Garuda is 4 fast casts. So you can see what my initial impressions made it so that Summoner got pushed back on the list a little bit. However, at level 86 you get a very important trait, which is that your astral flow will now also work with your primal summons, and once I got to 86 things got a lot better. It made each primal feel more distinct from each other, and it also brings in more decision making. If you want to use Ifrit, you need to make sure that you have the time to cast those slow casting spells, although it is a DPS game to use swift cast on one of them, but you also need to make sure that you can be in melee range for your astral flow skills, as they are a gap closer that combos into a melee attack, and you also need to use them back to back or you end up losing that second cast. As for Garuda, you need to make sure that the boss or enemies that you're fighting will stay in place for a short while, as she puts down a ground AoE that deals damage over time. And then Titan is your flex primal. He has instant cast, and his astral flow is sort of like Gunbreaker's continuation. Each time you press the Titan GCD, you can cast the off global cooldown, so Titan is very flexible in that regard. So once you get to 86, I must admit that your 3 primals feel pretty good, but now your 2 big summons feel like the boring part of the rotation. For me personally, I think this is easily fixed by adding a second usage of Enkindle in there. Just give Enkindle half the potency and a short cooldown on it, so that you use it at the start of the summon and then towards the end a second time. It would already make them feel a whole lot better. Last negative thing I have to say about the job is that the primal summons might need to get their animation toned down a little bit. Now, the first time that I had the level 90 summoner in my party, first thing that I did was make the primal smaller, because they're pretty big and they obstruct your view quite a bit as well. But I have party effects turned off, so while I do see the primal pop out, I don't see their summoning animation. So it wasn't until I got my own summoners to 90 that I noticed it, and well, they did certainly make the new summoner flashy. The person that is going to play caster in my static is most likely just not going to play summoner, because the effects could make you miss mechanics, so hopefully they tone it down a little bit. Outside of that, thematically, summoner is exactly what I wanted it to be. A summoner. You have Bahamut, which then goes into your 3 primals. You get 2 GCDs, I think, before you then summon Phoenix, and one of those 2 GCDs is a Ruin 4, and then it repeats. So you're constantly interacting with your summons, be it your Demis or your normal primals, while still allowing 1 global cooldown in case you need to swift cast rest someone, because summoner can still do that. So I quite enjoy that aspect of summoner. As I mentioned, once you get to 86, your primals feel really nice, but I do feel like the Demi summons could use a little bit of extra for them to feel better. An extra off global cooldown, maybe give them some special GCD attack as well, just throwing some ideas out there, just something that would spice them up a little bit, as they do feel like the boring part of the rotation right now. And maybe even a hard casted spell wouldn't be so bad, because summoner is pretty much the 4th range at this point. Both your Demi summons are all instant casts, Garuda and Titan are also instant, although Garuda does have 1 casted spell, and then Ifrit is the one where you have 2 slow casts and then the melee stuff. But overall you have like 4 casts per minute. A Ruin 3, which by the way also has a faster cast time now at like 1.5 seconds or something, the 2 Ifrit GCDs and the Garuda GCD, and that's it. So yeah, you're very mobile, but it's fun, and that's all that matters to me. So if they can make the Demis a little bit more interesting, and if they tone down the primal summons animations a little bit, then I think that I would enjoy Summoner in this expansion quite a bit. As it stands right now, Black Mage is still sitting on the throne what casters is concerned, but I do of course still have to level Red Mage as well, and then I can see how each of them pair up against each other in terms of fun. Also kind of forgot to mention, but your pet is now also super responsive, as they've made it just kind of be there and not do anything outside of just stand around. So when you cast your raid buff or your personal shield, then it'll happen instantly, which coming from a very unresponsive pet in Shadowbringers felt super good. If you're unsure about how you feel about Summoner, then I would say try until 86, as that's a very important point for Summoner right now. But if you get there and you still feel like the job is a bit too bland, then wait to see if they end up spicing things up a little bit in the future. I certainly hope they do, but even if they don't, it wouldn't keep me away from the job, as what is there currently does feel alright to play. Anyways, I think that about sums everything up, so I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my Patreons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.